Summer's world begins to close in the moment she hears the words she was never meant to hear. There is no dramatic police knock on the door yet. No handcuffs, no public scene in the middle of the street. But for Summer, the danger suddenly feels just as real. Because George has already done something that could change everything. He has told the police about Summer's lies. And when Christina hears that confession, her reaction only makes the fear worse. She points out that once the police know more, it may only be a matter of time before they turn their attention towards Summer. It is not said as a threat, it is not shouted, but it lands with the force of one. Because Summer is listening. She has overheard enough to understand that the walls may be moving in, and in that instant, panic takes over. She slips out of the door, shaken, frightened, and clearly already thinking about escape. This is where Coronation Street places Summer in one of the most dangerous emotional positions of all. Not necessarily guilty, not necessarily doomed, but terrified enough to make a choice that could make everything look far worse. Because when someone runs, people ask why. And Summer is not just leaving the room, she is preparing to leave the country. When Todd later bumps into her, the sight alone is enough to raise alarm bells. Summer is carrying a hold-all, and that one detail tells us this is not a normal day. This is not a quick trip across town. This is someone packing in a rush, someone trying to get ahead of a storm before it catches her. Todd sees her, and Summer has to explain herself. But what she says is even more worrying. She tells him she is scared the police are going to arrest her for Theo's murder. That fear has clearly taken over her mind so completely that she has already made contact with her university in the States. And now, according to Summer, she is flying out this afternoon. Not next week, not after thinking things through, this afternoon. That timing makes everything feel desperate. For Summer, America suddenly becomes more than university. It becomes distance. It becomes breathing space. It becomes a way to escape the questions, the suspicion, and the growing pressure around Theo's death. But the problem is clear. If she goes now, while the police may be closing in, will it look like fear, or will it look like guilt? That is the emotional trap at the center of this story. Summer may believe she is protecting herself. She may believe that leaving is the only way to survive what is coming. But from the outside, this decision could be devastating. George has already spoken to the police. Christina has already warned that Summer could be next. Todd has now seen her with a bag, talking about flying out. Every single piece of this begins to form a picture, and it is not a comfortable one. And yet, what makes this so gripping is that Summer's panic feels human. She is not standing there calmly calculating her next move. She is frightened. She is reacting. She has heard enough to convince herself that arrest is coming, and once that thought takes hold, it is almost impossible to think clearly. That is why Todd's role in this moment matters. He is not just bumping into her randomly. He becomes the person standing between Summer and a decision that could change her life. He now knows what she is planning. He knows she is afraid, and he knows this is all tied to Theo's murder investigation. The question is whether he can get through to her before she disappears. Because if Summer boards that flight, the consequences could be enormous. Not because it proves anything, but because it gives the police another reason to look closely at her. It could make every lie, every fear, and every unanswered question feel heavier. And for George, this could bring its own guilt. He has told the police about Summer's lies, and he may have believed that honesty was the only option. But if that truth now sends Summer running, how will he live with that? He may not have meant to push her into panic, but his decision has clearly started a chain reaction. Christina's warning has done the rest. There is a painful tension in the way this storyline builds. Nobody needs to shout for the danger to feel real. A quiet confession, a worried comment, a young woman listening from the shadows. a hold-all in her hand, a flight planned for the same afternoon. That is all Corrie needs to turn Summer's fear into something explosive. Meanwhile, away from Summer's crisis, there is another family struggling under the weight of fear. Will admits to Tim that he cannot properly relax now that Megan has been released. That one admission says a lot. Whatever calm he is trying to show on the outside, inside he is still unsettled. Megan's release has clearly not brought peace. It has brought tension back into the room. Ben tries to do what many people do when a family is under pressure. He tries to plan something normal. A family holiday should be a chance to breathe, to reset, to step away from the stress. But in Weatherfield, even a simple attempt at normal life can fall apart quickly. And that is exactly what happens when Susie's fierce loyalty to her family causes more trouble for the Driscolls. Instead of a clean break or a fresh start, the family finds itself pulled back into drama again. Ben may want to look forward, but loyalty, fear, and family tension are not easy things to pack away. Elsewhere, Carla takes action at work when she calls Sarah into the office. This is not just a casual chat. Carla can see that Sarah is not herself, and she makes a decision. She tells Sarah that Michael is being put in charge of the new contract, and then orders Sarah to take some time off. For Sarah, that is a blow. Even if Carla's decision comes from concern, it still means someone else stepping into her place at a moment when she is clearly struggling. Carla is not dressing it up. Sarah needs a break, and Carla is making it happen whether Sarah likes it or not. But the heart of this episode's tension belongs to Summer. Because while other families are dealing with pressure, Summer is on the edge of a life-changing decision. She believes the police may come for her. She believes leaving for the States might be her only way out. And Todd has now caught her at the worst possible moment, with a bag in her hand and fear written all over her future. So now everything hangs on one question. Will Summer stop long enough to face the truth, or is she about to run straight into even deeper trouble?